Folks, welcome back to another episode of Fallen Badge. Today we're going to talk about the murder of Officer Waldis Johnson and the death of Officer Darren Weathers, Detroit Police Department. Before we get started, I did a couple of things different in this episode than I've ever done on a Fallen Badge episode. Number one, I used a different cover, different opening picture. Generally, I show the location an officer was murdered with a Google Maps shot of the location they died. And this time I decided to use pictures of the crime scenes as the cover. Second thing, every Fallen Badge episode I've done involves officers who were murdered in the line of duty, which is different than officers who may have died in the line of duty. I had never planned on doing an episode with an officer who, say, died of COVID or a heart attack, car accident, airplane crash, helicopter crash. All my episodes are about police officers who were maliciously murdered by another human being. This one here, though, I was looking for an episode a few weeks ago and I ran across these two officers from the Detroit Police Department. I ended up, I obviously didn't do it at that time. I did one on a investigator from Battle Creek, Michigan. But this one here really, I don't know, it bothered me or touched my heart or something. I can't even describe it when I read the story. So now this story here, as you can tell by the title, one officer was murdered in the line of duty and the other one died in the line of duty. But their story it's something. So anyways, enough about that. We'll go on and get into this episode. It's April 30th, 2017. Two Detroit police officers, Waldis Johnson and Darren Weathers, got a domestic violence call. To 10,075 Joey Road. Now, Officer Johnson had 14 years on the job. And he was married and had a child. Now, Officer Weathers, who was a military veteran, he was right at 2 years on the job. And he had a wife and a child. Now, as you can see from the picture, you've got two identical buildings. Each building has 4 apartments, 2 downstairs and 2 upstairs. And there's one common door for each of those buildings. Now that front door locks automatically, so you have to be physically let in to the building in order to reach any of the 4 apartments. Now it's about 11:45 p.m. Now the caller said that they'd leave the that front door propped open. Now, when Officer Johnson and Officer Weathers get there, the door's not propped open, so they're knocking and banging on the door, trying to get somebody to come let them in. Now, what the officers don't know, but what witnesses would say later, a man who had nothing to do with the domestic violence call, he comes out of his apartment, which is 25, which is upstairs. He walks down the stairs, and while he's loading a nickel-plated 380. And he gets to the front door and he opens it, and he's gonna shoot the officers. Or shoot somebody. I don't know if he knew it was the police or not. Either way, Officer Johnson grabs the pistol, and he's struggling with this individual. Now, Officer Johnson either lets go of the pistol to grab his gun, or the suspect's able to break loose. Either way, suspect fires, Officer Johnson fires, and from the information I gathered, Officer Weathers fires. Now, Officer Johnson struck one time in the head. He went down. And the suspect is struck multiple times, and he dies on the scene. Officer Weathers drags Officer Johnson out to the street, gets him behind cover. Now, Officer Johnson is transported to the hospital, and he's in an extremely critical condition. In fact, they performed the first of several brain surgeries on Officer Johnson. Now, there's some questions around this shooting. I have questions about this shooting and what started it. The person that was shot and killed, the suspect that shot Officer Johnson, he had a real job. He went to work every day. He just liked to drink a lot. Now, he had gotten into it with somebody there in the neighborhood, so the story goes. Now, regarding this domestic violence call, caller says they're going to leave the front door open. Well, they don't. So, were they prevented from doing so? Did they forget to go prop the front door open? Or did the person that called, were they trying to set up the suspect to get shot? Or were they setting up the police to get shot, knowing this suspect liked to drink and get a little violent? Maybe the intent was just to get the suspect arrested. But I just wonder if this was not a setup call for somebody. Now, this suspect, he didn't have a violent criminal history. He had a criminal history involving traffic. He didn't do very well driving and drinking. And of course, after this incident, it showed he'd had a problem drinking and doing anything. Now, I did not see anything that gave a reason or a solution to why this shooting occurred. I can only assume the Detroit police track down whoever it was that called. Did the call actually come from that apartment building? A lot of questions I'm not sure about. The answers may be there and I missed them. But in any event, Officer Weathers is given the Medal of Valor for his actions to stop the suspect and to aid his partner. That military training comes in handy. February 13th, 2018. Officer Weathers not only got the Medal of Valor for his actions in the shooting involving his partner, there was a video published to him with some of the kids in the neighborhood. Officer Weathers was from the city of Detroit, I believe the east side. So he really did have a love for community. Video really put the city of Detroit on the map in a good way. Now, he was such a good officer, they had decided to put him on a unit. I don't know if you'd call it an integrity unit, but anyways, the unit was would investigate allegations, criminal allegations against Detroit police officers and also against Detroit city employees while they're on duty, which was basically the same job I did. I worked for security squad for Memphis, criminal allegations against police. And we handled police shootings as well. I don't know if this unit did or not, but so everything's going well for Officer Weathers. Now, on this particular day, he was involved in some type of surveillance training exercise. And I'm not really sure what went wrong, but Officer Weathers is on Michigan Avenue near Clark. Now, according to investigation witness reports, he was traveling at a high rate of speed, and allegation is that he blew through a red light. His car hit some other cars and went airborne, hit some fixed objects, and then was actually cut in two pieces. Now, as you might guess, when you get a police officer killed, and especially one who had reached the acclaim that Officer Weathers had, that everybody was trying to point the finger at somebody else about this training exercise and exactly what was going on. Everybody denying that they authorized the training. As you can see from the pictures, Officer Weathers had to be flying. Very, very sad event. May 31st, 2020, Officer Johnson finally succumbs to his bullet wound and dies. Officer Darren Maurice Weathers. End of watch, February 13th, 2018. Officer Waldis Vanessa J. Johnson. End of watch, May 31st, 2020.